Good morning, it's Harvey Jackson. Just going to go through some of the top news articles that I've seen. And oilseeds are inverted everywhere but in North America. Brought to you by Producer Profit. I just want to keep reminding some of the people about these meetings that we have in Moosomin and Steenan. So Market Outlook put on by RBC and myself, and option hedging seminar, which I will be participating in as well. Palm oil still has some more losses, as you can see here, 2.1% or 2.2% loss. Crude oil is still climbing, and some of it's over the tensions in Russia, Ukraine. Now, how and whether that's going to be affected. As you can see, wheat has even gotten that little bit of lift, but how much lift are we going to get? It's until there's actually a slowdown in shipping of both of those products, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of big upside like we saw when they started the war. Russian ruble getting really close to some of the highs that it's made just in the recent past here. So yeah, it's punishing the market a little bit there. And yet here we got the opposite. The U.S. dollars actually got a lot of strength, and that's you know good for the U.S. economy, showing that it's the strongest one of all of them. But it puts pressure on the other commodities and or the commodities that they trade. And wheat is the one that probably has the biggest effect. But you can see here where it's hit these highs in over the years, and it went higher back in 22 and 23. But even the previous Trump trade, it didn't trade these high values that they are now. And China announces a policy to boost its trade, basically just trying to suggest what they might do with the Trump trade tariffs, and saying here that they're going to boost the support for the banks in the area as well. One of the other main things that got hit the news yesterday was the China in Brazil is talking about buying sorghum, and as you can see here, they don't actually they're just a very sliver of what gets exported, and because they grow enough, but they don't export it, where U.S. actually has a huge export program. So as we see the markets at the time that I took the snapshot, canola is down $1.30, rapeseed down 2 to 2.5, soybean oil up slightly, palm oil down 35 ringgits, not a huge amount, and crude oil down a little bit, with the wheat still trading a little bit higher. Canadian dollars a little bit green there as well. So I just wanted to get into understanding what inverted markets are, and it's called backwardation or inversion. And what it means is that today's price is higher than in the future, which is a bullish situation. And the opposite is where today's price is lower, future price is higher, which is bearish, and the market is telling you to sell in the future. And what ends up happening is you shift over in time, and you actually draw down the price as you move forward in time. It's telling you to sell the future, not now, because we're fully supplied. So if we look at rapeseed, we've got a backwardation happening here, and you got palm oil backwardation. Market's lower as you look forward than it is right now. And then you got soybean oil, and it's getting a little less and less carry, but it still has carry. So the market is actually telling you to sell in the future, not now. And canola is exactly the same way too. So there's a fair bit of carry telling you to pay. So this looks like it's fully supplied, but when you draw down and you get some confirmation of some of these numbers of a tighter crop, which I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm thinking it's January, February before we actually get those confirmation. I really have a lot of doubts that the December 5th report from StatsCan is actually going to give us that, but we'll see. So here's your canola, and we've had some pretty bad down days. Looks like support would be down here, but when you convert it over to priced in U.S. dollars, we're basically at support right now. So and a little ways to go down, but it actually smooths out a lot of the curve when we actually put it in U.S. dollars. The U.S. dollar terms is a lot closer to hitting support than it is on the just the Canadian dollar terms, which I'll be watching more and more. I think if the Canadian dollar still has a lot of problems with it, Here's your rapeseed, and it's basically touching the support line. You can draw that anywhere, and you could say it blew through support or didn't, but it's still in an upward trend, only with 3 days going down. Now, if it breaks through, I guess I would be worried. But here's uh, your canola or your rapeseed in Europe priced in Canadian dollars. It's 161. It was higher yesterday at 165. Here's your soybean oil breaking through the bottom end of this channel, trading below its 200-day moving average. So that's not supportive, but it is right at the wave analysis for the 50% retracement. Here's your crude oil or your palm oil, and here's your Chinese rapeseed oil, and it still looks like it's going in a sideways channel here. West Texas, a few days up, we're getting closer to those short-term moving averages. Soybeans still hovering above the $10, which is a support value, a psychological one, but it's touched and went below a couple different times in values, but it needs to hold at the very least there. Big crop coming, South America, a huge crop in the U.S. with good crush numbers there. Here's your Canadian dollar. Looks like we've got a little bit of recovery from its lows that it's made back last week. Let's have a look at wheat. Wheat's got that same kind of uptrend as well, and which is a good thing. We can see that it's still got a long ways to get to any of these previous highs, but it's well supported with some of that friction in Russia, Ukraine, with the long-range missiles being able to be used in Russia territory. And by the sounds of it, they've hit uh, some uh, sites where they're launching missiles from Russia into Ukraine. So they're starting to hit some of those strategic military sites. Here's your Chicago wheat above your short-term moving average. Still hasn't captured these other ones yet. And here is your Kansas, and it's got across a couple of the short-term moving averages already. And the same thing with your milling wheat in France. Nice upward trend, crossed over and touching, and possibly get over this next hurdle would be another short-term moving average or longer-term moving average. Oats, a little bit different story. We'd had a pretty good pullback, and what are we going to do in the next few days, because this is the December contract, and there's always a bit of a flush that happens on these thinner traded commodities like oats to go to the next futures month. Here's your corn, and it looks like we're getting closer to these values again. Nice uptrend above all of the moving averages, so that's a positive sign there as well. You could say that it's basically getting supported there. December 5th, which again, I would reiterate, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that the StatsCan is going to confirm the lower yield numbers in Canada on the canola, probably confirm bigger to the same size of crop of wheat. And yeah, we'll look forward to that report in a couple of weeks. And again, Dean York might be reaching out to some of you guys just to talk about chemical options.